we took home the other day about $30, $40.
It's 5 hours work, so it's good money. You know, people see you, they think, you know, the poor peddlers, or, you know, struggling, making a lot of money.
Not a lot. We make enough to get by.
Pay our bills. What else do you do?
Well, we're students at City College uptown.
Is this all you do?
No. We also do hardcore pornographic films. We work as a couple, for a team.
Do you make money at that?
Yeah, we make a lot of money there. Softcore, you're not allowed, firstly, to show a man's penis erect. And secondly, you're not actually allowed to fondle each other too much. It's all pretty much faking. And of course, there's no actual intercourse, no fucking, no sucking, no man coming, nothing like that. Hardcore, you have, couples have actual intercourse. Girls work with dildos and they insert them. Men come, you know, they have anal intercourse. S&M, which is sadomasochism, the whole bit. So. We did it once or twice, not as a couple, and it didn't work out. Like, what we do in our private life is one thing, but on film, you have enough problems. You don't need to meet someone new and say, hey, you know, come on, fuck with him. So, it just doesn't work out.
So you wouldn't, you don't want to work as solo, so to speak?
Well, I work with other females, but I only work with him.
Why?
Well, we live together, and we've been having sex now for about 2 years. And
it also shows up better on film.
Yeah. We love each other. It shows up. Two girls working together, a girl on top of another girl.
Doing what?
And they're sucking each other, sort of 69 position between two females. And then the male walks in and either
introduction of the third member, huh?
Right, usually a male. And, well, with us, the female sort of moves out and the two of us start fucking. Where we have bad vibes, you know, with it.
Like sometimes you just get an intuition. Like the guy tells you to show up at 12 o'clock at night at Howard Johnson's Suite 22. We went against our, you know,
judgment because we needed the bread. And
you know, knocking the door and the police, we had to run in the bathroom.
It wasn't the police, but it was so paranoid, you know. You can't work that way. No.
I'm paying you $350. See, the element has changed in the industry. It used to be very fine. People did the films where, you know, they're doing it for a sideline, they're doing it for
or there were legitimate producers who were doing legitimate films and also doing this to make extra money.
Yeah. And now people don't know anything about films, you know, coming into the industry. You know, one guy brought in a book on how to make pornographic films.
A lot of mafia coming in.
He said to Barbie, said,
mafia-looking characters.
You do this position. She said, I'm too short, my legs are too short, I can't reach over to you better. I want this position. I'm paying you $300 and you do it.
No compassion, no sensitivity. And they don't really care what the film looks like. And even though we're not really professional actors, we kind of care about what we do.
And the actors are pacing back and forth like expectant husbands. When is he getting it up? When is he getting it up? And that adds to the pressure and, you know, you never get it up.
It's our personal life affects our films. It's not the films affect our personal life. If we're getting along well, if our sexual relationship is good, then we'll get along on camera.
We just had enough fight the night before, you know.
We can't work.
Can't work.
Homosexual love implies love between two men or two women. If a man makes love to another man, we usually label him a homosexual. But some men make love only to other men. Some make love to both men and women, and many men make love to women most of the time, having sexual relations with other men only rarely.
Well, I think when I look back on my childhood, I know that I was always gay. I know that I was always attracted to men, but I never had any sexual experience until right before my senior year in college. I didn't even fuck girls I'd had no sexual experience with anybody up until that time. And to make a long story short, I guess my first involvement was with a college professor who happened to be like in his early 30s, very attractive. And it just sort of happened, and I guess I kind of planned the situation and kind of let myself go into the situation. I didn't know what was going to happen, but I kind of thought about what could happen. But I didn't fool around in college during my senior year at all. I did come to New York for a weekend right before my senior year, and I did meet someone here. I found myself out on the street one night, dressed in early 1960s Madras sport jacket, the whole bit, very Joe College, very, you know, upstate square. And found myself cruising. I didn't know what it was or never heard the term before, but I was doing it. And I met someone and went to his apartment eventually and rapped for a long time before anything did happen. And he remained one of my very oldest and closest friends. And I came to New York a few times when I was in college, like on vacations and holidays or a school trip or something, and I would stay with my friend. And I guess he taught me everything I know.
Kinsey found that approximately 4% of the American male population was exclusively homosexual. What does this mean? To qualify as an exclusive homosexual, one must never have been even the slightest sexual experience with the opposite sex. Furthermore, the exclusive homosexual has never felt any urge to become involved with women, and he has had no fantasies concerning heterosexual relations.
Well, sort of, first I was married with this girl, 10th, 11th, 12th grade. We got married. We were married 3 years. Then we got into a group with mass sort of orgy sex sort of thing. And from that, I got like some guys at the party would say, "Why don't we see each other alone?" At first, I didn't know. I was sort of, I guess I knew what it was, but I sort of, you know, well, why, you know? But I did. And there was this one guy who just absolutely loved to be, you know, screwed. And that's how then I discovered that I liked it. I loved another car. Always, so I got into it. But it wasn't the breakup of the marriage. It was many other things other than that. It had nothing to do with homosexuality, our breakup. In fact, my wife is in California. We see each other. And if she comes here, we still have sex. But I prefer the other thing, I guess. I never go to gay bars or anything like that. I don't know why. I just I'm in it, but I'm like not in it. I don't know. It sounds sort of crazy by the way I'm explaining this. I know, but just to explain to someone else is that, you know, oh Jesus Christ, you're a homosexual, which I am, but it's like I don't feel like sometimes. It's strange to tell you that.
Probably the two most familiar categories used to describe homosexuals are latent and overt. Medically, psychiatrically, and legally, a person is an overt homosexual if he has been caught in a homosexual act or admits ever having engaged in one. Theoretically, one becomes an overt homosexual as soon as he engages in any form of homosexual relations to climax, whether or not the rest of the world knows about it. Under this category, more than a third of the American male population can be classified as overtly homosexual.
We're in the Village bookstore down in Manhattan's Greenwich Village on Christopher Street. It's supposed to be a typical bookstore, a bookstore that vends pornography and some sexual novelties. Gary, is your store typical?
Yes, I would say it is typical, and that most of the average type person come into the store the same as pretty much the stores all over town.
All right, tell me a little bit about pornography. Is it new to us now?
No, it's not new. It's been around as long as mankind has been around, and it probably will be around as long as mankind is around.
Well, wouldn't you say that there's a lot more stores of this type that exist right now?
Well, much more than there was in the past.
Why is that, do you think?
Simply because of the legal situation. Things have become more permissive, and you can sell things now that you couldn't sell years ago.
Why is that, do you think?
strictly a function of the laws. Court decisions that have said that things are not obscene and people are entitled to have them, that previously courts said they couldn't have.
All right, we notice you have both heterosexual and homosexual material. Is this typical of most stores?
Yes, it is.
Would you say you have more one way than the other?
Yes, we do. In this store, we have mostly homosexual material because of the neighborhood. This neighborhood is inhabited mostly by homosexuals, and therefore we slant our merchandise in that direction.
All right, tell us about specifically the areas of pornography you cover, because as I understand there are specific areas. Could you tell me about them?
Well, we cover pretty much the entire spectrum in both homosexual and heterosexual pornography. However, we do tend to stay away from things dealing with specific perversions such as masochism and small children, things like that.
This store stays away from the sadomasochistic sort of pornography, is that true?
That's true.
All right, Gary, you seem to have your sexual novelty section. Could you tell me a little bit about you have artificial vaginas up there. Could you show me one?
Yes.
And tell me something. They both have straps on them.
Right, they both have straps.
What's the difference between the two of them?
Well, they're both made of rubber on the outside, except this one is filled with foam rubber, and this one can be filled with warm water.
Who buys these?
All types of people buy them.
Do you sell many of them?
Quite a few. This is one type of dildo we have. It has a strap, and it's made of rubber. It's hollow inside. And
who makes these?
There's several manufacturers all over the country.
Is this something very new, or has the dildo been around for a while?
No, these dildos of one form or another have been around for thousands of years.
I see. What other kind of dildos do you have?
Well, we have another type here. It's basically the same construction, except it has a pump in it.
Could you show me the inside of that?
Yes, it's hollow inside, and it has a little bladder that can be pumped up.
Hold the pump closer to it.
You see, you have something called Joy Gel.
Yeah.
See that, please?
That's these here. They're a lubricant, the same sort of lubricant you could buy in any drugstore, except these are flavored and scented.
Flavored and scented?
Right.
Can you see the label? Well, this says real grape-scented and flavored lubricant. Oh, that's wild. It's scented.
Homosexuality is commonly defined as sexual desire towards one of the same sex. However, in the United States, we tend to think of homosexuals solely as being of male gender. In fact, a great proportion of homosexual community consists of women. If the homosexual in our culture encounters a great deal of difficulty in relating to normal life, then think of the homosexual woman who is given a special title, that of lesbian.
Subbing in this one particular place for a while, for about a month or so, and I was offered a permanent job, and as it turned out, it was in Dina's room, and I was the head teacher, she was my assistant teacher, and we worked together very well. She has a tremendous interest in children and cares about children very much. I liked her ideas about working with children, the way she helped me get the program together, and in terms of how the children were treated and so forth and so on. We worked together very well, and we little by little became good friends in the work situation.
When Edith first came to the nursery school, I wasn't quite sure of how things were going to work out, but I learned very quickly that not only did the two of us get along beautifully in the classroom, but we also got along very well outside of school. We became very good friends. I met her friends, she met my friends. We started to spend time together outside of the nursery school and went out socially together.
It was a little bit hard, though, I think, to make the transition from the work situation to the social situation, because at first we'd call each other at home and we wouldn't have that much to talk about other than what had gone on in school.
what had gone on with the children, and we had a third teacher in the room, a male, and it got to the point where we worked so well together that it became to the fact that we excluded him, and we had to work on that a little bit. That became a problem. But after a while, we did make the transition and saw each other outside of school, and we had other things to talk about. We found out we had things in common.
Did either of you ever go out with men? Do you see men?
Yes, I do, but that's not my preference, actually.
I also have dated men before, but I would also prefer to be with another woman. That was one of the reasons why I was especially pleased, of course, when Edith came to teach in my room, because not only was she excellent to work with in the room, but the two of us have become a couple, and we do spend a lot of time together.
Yeah, there was an immediate affinity between us, and it's been developing and growing and growing.
It took us a little while to warm up to each other. It's an awkward thing at first, but once the two of you become honest with each other and sit down and talk about things and find out how many things you have in common, you quickly realize that your friendship will go in many different directions and last a very long time.
And there's also a basic trust, I think, between us that I don't find often happens to me. I don't trust that many people, but I do trust Dina very, very much. And I know she trusts me too, and it makes it a little easier for me too. So it's an easy, comfortable, relaxed situation between us, I find. And as she mentioned before, I enjoy meeting her friends, she enjoys meeting my friends, so we both can widen our circles, and the two circles can meld sometimes and become one big circle. And it's interesting to see the combinations of people together, and friends of hers becoming friends with my friends and things like that. Just lots of interesting combinations.
There have been many times when the two of us have met socially, when there have been males and females. It hasn't only been female. But we do prefer to be together. And